Greetings, fellow gunsmiths. Rhadamant here. Thank you for tuning in to Icarus, Volcanic, Prometheus. Episode 21. It's sniper time with bullets and gunpowder. Okay, back on task. So, for the turbine, we need copper wires. I definitely have enough copper ingots for that now, so that should be no issue. And after we make a turbine, I would like to be able to store the power in a battery. So that'll be the next little project. Plus, I'm going to need the electricity tool. So let's get the electricity tool now. Well, I'll get the turbine first, and then the electrical tool. So the electrical tool, I'll need a little bit more carbon fiber and more copper wire. But we are getting the copper, no problem. So, shan't be an issue. Oh, hi, Stoneja. Whoops. And then the plan is to put the wind turbines smack dab in the middle. One thing about the wind turbines is they have like a airspace, as you can see in the red. And this is a zone that can't be filled with anything else, or they will cease to work. So you can't put them indoors, you can't put them in caves. They have to be like open in that sphere above them. But that one there should be protected from annoying animals that are going to be a problem, and generate us glorious power. So with the wind turbine, we can then power up the forge or the foundry, because all the next tech that we will want to get requires power for the most part, barring some very few exceptions. So I did note we needed carbon fiber for the electricity tool. Yep, 2 more carbon fiber. And let's put this carbon fiber in the front of the queue. And then the steel. Could it be put on the roof? I could, but it would crowd it quickly. The other thing, as I mentioned, they require regular maintenance. And if they're not maintained, they produce less power until they break. And putting them on my roof means maintaining them is annoying. So I have them on the ground so that I can repair them without it being a nuisance. At this point, I don't... Whoa, look at that. I'm a stack master. I don't really need coconuts. There's like nothing to do with them. So I'm just going to throw them on the ground. Let them rot. I don't care. I'm not even going to replant these. I'm just going to let them mature without resow. So, yeast and ferns back through the grinder, and some of the fibers over here. Perfect. And we have a kind of a nasty storm up and coming, so being outside is going to be a bit of an issue. And you also be able to, one of the good things about this is I'll be able to demonstrate the damage done to the turbine. So you can see like how much damage per storm on average the turbine will suffer. It's not a lot, but it adds up over the course of many hours. So it's one of those like regular maintenance things to consider. All right, carbon fiber for the electricity tool I have in hand. So there we go. Here's our electrical tool, which allows it to actually wire stuff up, much like the water pipe tool that we already made. And then the last thing we're going to want to make is a battery. So that requires platinum plates, which we already have, titanium plates rather, platinum sheaths, which we need to make. So I need 2 bars of platinum for that, refined wood and electronics, which we already have. So I'll just grab all the electronics, all the refined wood, and then platinum ingots for the plates. Or sheaths, whatever they are. Can you biofuel them? What's them? And here is the basic battery pack. No. Veggie matter does not make biofuel. Veggie matter makes fertilizer, but fertilizer requires dirt, and I don't have access to dirt. So TLDR, no. That's why I threw them out. Alright, with this battery, we'll be able to plug in and power up. The thing is, I don't really know where to put this. Oh, spoiled plants and tree saps do make it? Okay, cool. I'm still not doing it, though. Mostly because I don't. Oh yeah, there they are. The coconuts themselves, if I wanted spoiled plants like that, growing strawberries or berries or something which is like high yield would be good. The coconuts themselves don't make a lot of spoil. They don't spoil to very much. Because it's just a few coconuts compared to like dozens and dozens of berries. So we could go that approach for biofuel in the future. I would need to unlock like strawberries or wild berries or something. One of the advantages of wild berries is we could make mead out of it, which is a good food. One of the advantages of the strawberries is we can make strawberry candies, which is good food. So that might be something we do in the future. But let's get sappy. So now that we have the electricity tool, we can plug that bad boy in and hook it up to the turbine. And then, now that we have a source of power and a battery, we can go back to working on the foundry. So the foundry only requires 3 more titanium plates, which should be no issue at all because we've been smelting titanium this whole time. So I need literally 1 more smelted titanium for the plate, which is in process right now. And then for the battery, I might want to build like a half wall or something in order to hoist it up on an elevated platform, because it's not something that needs to be on the floor. So I'll build a half wall piece and maybe put it up on a half wall somewhere, like right above the door. Although the only issue with right above the door is it poses a potential storm damage risk. So maybe, like, oddly enough, I'll just put my battery up there on a platform. It's a weird spot, but like, it'll work fine. And I'll do the same with like water storage. So my water barrel and my my battery will be up there. Oh my god, I put that in the wrong spot. Fine. Alright, I'd like to organize my power... Oops. Didn't mean to drop that. I'd like to organize my power in such a way in this base that it isn't, like, ugly. I'm going to try my best to lay it out logically so it's not hideous. So I'm going to have straight cables only, and what I want to do is I want to basically align to the grid like this, so that all of my cables are very easy to plug into. And then once we have to, like, move over to the turbine, like, I don't really care if it's, like, perfect. So that at this point, perfect doesn't really help me. And yes, this sulfur storm is hurting. Okay. If I'm not mistaken, the battery should be plugged in now. And it is. And it is supplying. Perfect. Okay. Let's get that one more titanium and build one plate and then put the foundry down. Once the foundry's down, I can start, like, organizing the base around it. I just didn't know exactly where I wanted to put everything without the foundry down first. And the Foundry will probably be in the center of the base right here where I'm standing, meaning that like the other stuff will just have to be moved once the Foundry is done. So the Foundry requires 1,000 watts when it's active, but the Foundry is not something that's going to be running very often, because it like runs once to make like whatever weapon you're trying to make and then stops. So it is not a regularly powered thing. So the wind turbine that we have isn't going to be needed to be dedicated for that. All right, Mason bench, you are getting moved. So probably what I'll do is I'll have like the masonry, the glass blowing, the cement, and the carpentry, like, all on one side, because they're the benches that I use far less frequently. And then I'll have, the benches I use far more frequently, more prominently, like, in the center of the base. The other thing is, a lot of these benches that I have, like the concrete one, benefits from plumbing. So we'll also want to consider circling back at some point to plumb them, because, you get discounted concrete if it's hooked up to a water network. And I don't know if this is exactly the like final area that I'm gonna have my my crafting benches, but the ones that I infrequently use, like having them tucked away in the side and the back or whatever, is totally fine. Like, I think that's pretty reasonable. Okay, this bad boy is going to be in my way, but it's also going to be obsolete, I think, as soon as the some recipes can't be on a foundry. They can only be on like lower level tech, so there might be some overlap here. So for instance, if I put down the forge again, let's see if there's anything I can't foundry but only forge. No, they have perfect overlap, because I know like the sledgehammer, iron sledgehammer, is something that I can now make on the foundry, but I couldn't make on the forge. Oh, maybe they patched it. Looks like they patched it. That's convenient, because that wasn't the case for a long time. So that must have been in the patch notes and I hadn't noticed. So at this point, the forge, destroyed. We don't really need it, as far as I know. And then all of the forge's stuff I can shove into the foundry, minus the coal, because it's not fueled anymore. And then I'll have to wire that up. I might want to, at some point, throw out, like, the old bone weapons. There we go. That's where the foundry's going to go. It's slightly off-center. And I'm sure that's going to annoy some people. So I'll try to recenter it. Kind of hard to do. I'll have to be good enough. So the old bone stuff I'm just going to toss. I just don't care. So this gear I'm throwing on the ground. I know I could break it down for bone and then turn the bone into epoxy or whatever, but it's just not worth the effort. I'm juggling too many things already. So, for this here, the way I want to hook this up is like this. So we're going to run this wire from this point over to right below the foundry. And the foundry should be about here. And then run a cable right up to the foundry, so the cables are not visible within the base. So now this thing's plugged in from below, and isn't hideous. The only cables that you'll ever be able to see are the ones running to the battery pack, and that's about it. Or if we have internal lighting or something like that. So we've got ourselves a foundry, and we've got ourselves a fabricator, and I'm going to move the fabricator so that it is next to the foundry. Because I want to group all my regularly used crafting things together for convenience. And now that we have this bad boy up, I can totally phase out the machining bench, because I pretty much don't need the machining bench anymore. Now, there's some use cases for, like, old benches, because some missions require you to have old benches, but you can always use higher-tiered benches instead. So, like, there might be a mission where, I'm going to make something up, but there might be a mission where it's like, go craft X at location Y. And if you get a quest like that, having an old bench is useful because you can just like bring that bench with you on that mission and drop it for the quest. Do I need more than one battery? No, you don't even need a battery to begin with. The battery just helps to deal with the influx of using more power than you currently have actively generating. But yeah, I probably myself don't need more than one, no. Alright. The Fabricator wants a water connection. Obviously, this is not something I'm going to provide right now. Let's move the textiles. Eventually I'll have electric textiles, but I'll move the current one we've got. Oh crap, I can't even... Yeah, hold on. And I don't really need it. Now that you have all this extra space, I don't really need crowd stuff as much. So I'll put it here. I should probably send up this suit back to space. I don't really need it down here with me. Some of the things I'm not going to even bother moving. Like, the cooking station is going to be obsolete soon. And the mortar and pestle will be eventually obsolete. And I don't need to move them, only to have to move them again. I don't see a reason to do that. So the question is, what should I do next? I can go on an operation, or continue to invest in tier 4 tech. So the next tier 4 tech I would get, if you're wondering, is the materials processor to be able to make composites, and the electronic furnace to be able to make those composite pastes into composites themselves. And if you want me to go on an operation, I would probably save up for my first gun and make some bullets and do whatever operation is next. I think it's the finding the thief one. Let's take a quick sleepy sleep, because one of the things I realized is I'm like kind of low on one of the prime meats I eat, and I can't see the corpses. Oh, the other thing about the storm damage. So this thing has taken... Oh, you know what? It actually didn't even take any damage in the last storm. I guess it wasn't that kind of storm. Wait, it will occasionally take storm damage, and the damage that it sustains will reduce the amount of power it generates. So it will require periodic repairs. I'll give you one more minute to vote in this poll. Nice quick poll. But I will still, if Operation does win, I'm still going to want to equip differently for that, which will take me a minute, but that's fine. God, I heard so much oh, yeah, here's some dead tracks. I was going to say, I heard so much combat while I was, like, holed up in the base. I was like, where are all the corpses? I know you were killing stuff, but... Alright, yeah, here we go. So I wanted more meat, because I'm almost out of the gamey meat. Which I've been relying upon. And then of course I need to just keep making biofuel, because I still get my oxides through that. How far will one windmill carry on for tier 4 machines? Depends on the machines. It's too open-ended of a question for me to answer. Right now, my base consumes 0 power. So it really depends on what I add. But, like, I'm not using any power at the moment. Like, as I had mentioned, and I guess you didn't hear me or didn't understand, the Foundry, when it's not working, doesn't use power. So when it works, it uses a kilowatt. When it's not doing anything, it uses 0 watts. So the Foundry is a power consumer, but only when it's working, and it works so infrequently because you only make like weapons and nails on it. So basically, it's nearly a 0 watt cost item unless you're churning out like thousands of nails for some reason. So basically, it doesn't require power. Now, if I was to get the electric furnace, for instance, that would be a bit different because, you know, the electric furnace would require power for smelting, which is something that runs constantly. So then that requires 2,500 watts continually. So it really depends on what you're building. So in my case, it's like non-issue. I'm still not even using power in my base at the moment, but like it really depends on what you're building. So it looks like going operation is going to be the answer. So what I'm going to do is my current priority is make a rifle and bullets and go on an operation. So with the blueprints that I have right now, I'm going to get the hunting rifle. And I'm going to need a lot of titanium ingots to make one. Then I'm going to go back and pick up gunpowder in tier 2 technology. If I haven't already. No, I already have gunpowder. And then in tier 3 technology, I want to pick up shell casings, like bullets. Also, if I'm going on operations, if I have extra blueprints, getting better oxygen container would be like ideal. Oh, is that in tier 4? I thought it was tier 3. Where is the God, where did they... Oh, yeah, I already have the ammo casings. Never mind, I don't need them. Alright, if I want ammo, I will need to make the ammo casings. So the ammo casings is iron. So let's go and make 20 times 5 ammo casings. And then the gunpowder is sulfur plus charcoal. And I've been burning wood since the moment I started the stream to try to make lots of gunpowder. Because that's probably the easiest way to mass produce it. So then for the rifle itself, I'm going to need... I already have the cured leather. It's on my tailor bench. So I'll just pull one... Actually, where in my cured leather's over here. I'll pull one cured leather off of here. And then the rest of it is just cooking up a whole bunch of titanium. If I could spell rifle... So I've got a little over the quarter of the titanium. So I'm just going to go... We have a bunch of titanium in the queue. So I just have to wait for that to smelt, essentially. The other thing I want, if I'm going for rifles, is rifle attachments. So we've got aiming and zoom. We've got stealth damage and perceived threat. Carry weight or critical damage. And critical damage is, like, obviously what I want. And hard point penetration. So we're going to get sniper scope attachment. It doesn't actually give you a sniper scope. It's just like the attachment, which is glass and 2 ingots. So this will set back my time to make the rifle. But yeah, we're obviously going to want the sniper scope attachment for that as well. So let's get that made. And I don't have the alteration bench tier 2 yet. I would love one, but you know, you didn't vote for it, so I'm not going to be going for that. Some of the other things that we're going to want in preparation. So let's see what the operation is. The operation is Shadowed. Shadowed has us defending scanners as they map the region. So that means almost certainly bringing our little pig compatriots around and having them defend as we scan. So let's see. I'm going to start pumping their remaining points in health regeneration, so they have a passive regeneration working even when they don't get killing blows, which would help someone like Medic Sloan, who obviously lacks a killing blow recently. And then before we go on an operation, especially one where we're defending scanners, because defending scanner operations usually include a lot of combat, we're going to want to make a bunch of extra bandages, splints, suture kits, etc. So I'm not going to fire up the operation until we're a little bit more prepared for it. Plus, I think the oxygen bladders are probably not enough for extended operations. Like, I'm going to want to upgrade off of that too. So, the larger oxygen canisters, I think I've not blueprinted yet. Have I? No. So we're also going to want a bunch of steel for the ox tanks. So I can have a whole bunch of oxygen. And I don't need a lot more steel for that. I have 15 here. So, yeah, just get a little bit more steel for that. And we'll be good. But here's all the bullets. So right now, my priority is to mine a bunch of iron, mine a bunch of iron for bullet casings and for steel, and then wait for that titanium to smelt to ingots. If I really wanted to rush the titanium, I could grab the obsidian axe and mine the titanium with it, so it insta-smelts. It's the biggest bonus of that obsidian pickaxe. But I don't think my being impatient is really a big benefit. The other thing, oh no, that's an advanced attachment bench. There's a there's an attachment for spears which are like insanely strong, but I would need the advanced attachment bench for that. But what I could do is get the blueprints, the 2 remaining blueprints. The spear attachment that I was referring to allows you to do electrical damage with your spear, which like shocks or like tasers your prey, which is insanely strong. Because anything coming after you in melee just gets like locked down. Which is super good. Alright, there is no iron in here. I don't know why I thought there would be. You're right. Yeah, I wish there was scopes. I actually find the iron sights of the rifle rather difficult to use. So I often will shoot in first person with the bow and in third person with the gun, because the middle dot reticle is your crosshair essentially for guns, where it's not exactly your crosshair for bows because there's like bullet drop or arrow drop. All right, leveled up again. So we have maxed out exotic sprinter. I'm gonna go back to combat and start leveling up rifles. So I'm gonna pick up freebies, and I'm gonna pick up focus fire, and then the solo tree. I think I'll pick up heavy hitter to then work towards bring a gun to a gunfight, so that I can do even more firearm damage. Now, another thing that's important to note is there is a whole bunch of different types of damage. So there's like fire damage, frost damage, poison damage, explosion damage, armor pen, and all of those relate to different bullets that you can craft. So I will want to, if I'm going to be boss killing at some point, I will want to specialize, because regular hunting rifle rounds just won't cut it against some of the bosses that we'll face. Meaning that making specialty rounds is going to be like a must eventually. I don't know how much more... Oh, well, that's convenient. Rotted out from under me. I'm just gonna let the raw bacon go through. Alright, well, I did a really piss poor job getting the steel that I wanted, so I'll try to focus on that a little bit better. The extra space is really nice. I haven't fully utilized it, obviously, but not having everything on top of one another is pretty sweet. Okay, I might have enough fiber now. You know what? I take it back. Fiber's one of those, like, you really just... Because you go... It's so much fiber per bandage, you go through a lot of it really, really, really quick. So let's just replant a whole bunch of fiber. And then, in this case, I think I'm going to do wheat in the middle rather than wood. Because we're sitting on a whole bunch of wood now. And I wouldn't mind getting more wheat for, like, healing and the like. Okay, Operation Iron. We've done this cave, we've done this cave, we've done this cave. There's a cave, I think, here-ish? There's a cave, I know there's one here, so I'll go there. And we're looking for iron for steel, so that we can get the oxygen tank, which lasts, what is it, 5-10 times longer than the bladder? Because I don't really want to be reliant upon huffing drifter guts in order to keep my oxygen up. That doesn't sound good to me. Especially given that one of the requirements of this run is I do not resource exploit outside of the volcanic or null zones, which means that if the missions that I undertake are not in volcanic or null and I run out of oxide for oxygen, I suffocate. I just die. I won't be able to mine the oxide in those zones as per the rules, which means I essentially forfeit life. So yeah, oxygen tank, super important in that regard. Where is this cave? Oh, I just write down, no? Am I in the wrong spot? Oh, I haven't gone far enough, I think. Yeah, it's right over here or something. Maybe it's below me? Oh, yeah, I know where it is. Looks like there's some, that's iron right there. And the cave should be in that face there. Another thing that's worthy to note is, I may want to also save up for, a titanium spear. Because I'm sporting right now an iron one. And, like, that's... I mean, my character is, like, low-key melee spec. So an iron spear for a melee spec is a little weak. But that also means that I need even more titanium, and the titanium is just not fast to come off the smelter. It's by far the slowest to smelt. I also forgot about more ramps. Yeah, I haven't done the whole, like, quest prep. You know, if I'm really gonna go on for questing, I'm gonna want something like... It depends on the quest. But as long as I'm not going into the null zone, I'm gonna want something like 20 ramps or so before I do go on a quest. Because a lot of the quests require you to ramp a lot. Which I kind of don't like, honestly. It's very annoying to have to, like, build a whole bunch of thatch ramps everywhere is, like, a requirement for questing. It's not an enjoyable mechanic, to say the least. A second smelter doesn't really make sense, considering I'll be phasing out those smelters all, like, entirely. So if I built a second smelter, the smart thing to do would be to get an electric furnace concurrent with a concrete one. But it wasn't voted on, as I'm sure you know I work on voted priorities, so that was the other thing that you guys did not vote on, which was to get the electric furnace. And the electric furnace allows you to then do composites. But having not won the poll, I won't be doing it. At this point, unless I'm like in dire need of a specific meat, I might not even bother skinning. In lieu of... Oh, wow! I almost never see ashen drakes. These guys are like fire Komodo dragons that are pretty uncommon to find in my neck of the... that's literally the first one I've ever killed. In my neck of the volcano. There's other volcanic regions in the map, but where they're more common, but they're just not common here. They're not dangerous. They're pretty tame. I'm not even going to bother grabbing its stuff. Skinning, the act of skinning will raise your knowledge about them a bit. There's a whole bunch of ways to like min-max that, which I haven't been bothering with because the benefits aren't much. Okay, that's enough of that. Get rolled! Alright, we have got lots of iron now, so it should be no problem to make an immense amount of steel. Yeah, 51 blooms. No problem. Alright, let's take that gunpowder too. And some of that iron might also become just regular old ingots so that we can make more bullets. So, we're gonna do the 7.62 batch rounds rather than the individuals. Some of this iron, as I said, will also go to bullet making. So I'll put 3 stacks in the smelter as well. And then this was going to cut in front of the queue to get the steel required for the canister. The tank. The ox tank. It's amazing how much the Drake could take over the Ashen Drake. It's because I wasn't hitting its weak spot. My critical hit damage is like quite high on this character. So if I hit anything in its weak spots, I obliterate it. And we're up to 24 out of 40 titanium for the gun. So yeah, it's just a matter of like being patient for the remainder. But it's coming sooner than later. And I need one more steel for the ox tank. Perfect. The O2 tank. Well, you can see how quickly I burned through all of my gunpowder, but I did make 125 bullets, which is pretty decent. I think all, like, the random items I have that I don't know what to do with, I'm going to stick on the glass bench. As just, like, a general storage. Good lord. Did my base get hit? Loki sounds like it did. Nasty storm out there. Oh, I had steel in here too. Damn it. Well, whatever. End result's the same. I'm gonna want to make another run up to my oxide drill once the storm's over to top up my my oxygen tank because I'm gonna run out of oxide. And I might as well repair my armor while I'm staring at it. I do intend to graduate out of this bone armor eventually and go to obsidian, the advanced obsidian armor. There's 2 obsidian armors, mind you. There is a lower tier and a higher tier. So there's the, on tier 2, an obsidian armor, heavy obsidian armor, which gives a lot of heat exposure resistance, or heat resistance and physical resists, which I could have gotten. I just decided the bone armor was better. And then at tier 4, you get access to the true obsidian armor, but that's at level 35, which is a lot of physical resist, heat, fire resist, heat resist, and eventually explosive resist and volcanic exposure resist. And I will be getting that once I have the ability to make composites, but I don't have that yet. With that said, I did mention potentially wanting a... you know what? I'm not going to make a titanium spear. I'm going to wait until I can make composites for the composite spear, because that's just better. So I'll hold off. So with my current points, I'm going to get the electronic furnace. And then maybe nothing else. I'll hold off on picking up any other blueprints for now. How much yeast seed do I got in here? 34? Yeah, that's enough. Thank you for tuning in to Icarus Volcanic Prometheus, which originally streamed live on Twitch. If you have any feedback or questions for me, let me know in the comments below. If you'd like to catch a live stream of mine, Rhadamant.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you'd like to join my online gaming community on Discord, Rhadamant.com has a link to it, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching. Special thank you to my Twitch subscribers, Patreon patrons, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. I hope to catch you next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, my fellow prospectors.